What's up, you sons of bitches? This is Lucian Black. I'm here with my friend Amanda Holm. That's M, not an S, right? Holm, not Holmes, like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, no, there's no ES. It's just HOLM.
All right, Holm.
You call me homie. That's what my friends call me.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I just knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew. She's coming on here, and we're going to talk about some cool, interesting, crazy energy shit and spirituality, mediums, all the juju. I might ramble about Bashar a little bit because you got to research that guy. That guy will blow your mind. Anything in particular that you'd like to talk about just openly before we start? Get into it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's the sun is shining. It's beautiful outside.
Pizza?
Like I have.
It is so gorgeous outside.
Zero complaints on that.
I'm ready for spring. That's my thing. It's
I
just
got
like
the fever.
The only prescription
is more cowbell.
Spring. No, it's more spring.
Maybe cowbell too, though.
I got a prescription. I've been working on my fucking Christopher Walken for quite a few years. And, you know, the more I do it,
I'm impressed.
I'm working on it. You know,
You're good.
Stab in the face with a soldering iron.
That's it.
When I wake up in the morning, I'm like the rest of yous. When it said I'll make gold-plated records. No, that's it. That's all I got.
You're funny. You nailed it. You got it.
Working on it. You know, Southern Illinois.
I should work on my impressions.
Dude, I got too many. You know, the Arnie. I've been working on my Sylvester Stallone. I got the Peter Griffin.
Stop it.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
I'll be working on the multiple personalities.
Dang, I don't have that gift.
Dude,
I'm gonna have to tap into that one.
I think when I was a kid, I was like a blank slate, right? So I didn't have anything that was like definitive to who I was. So
okay.
I was like open to just. And then my stepdad was like a borderline comedian. Like he was just funny.
Okay.
He would always do like Jim Carrey impressions, superimposing his chin.
Yeah, he was good, huh?
And we'd watch Liar Liar and Ace Ventura and all these movies, and I'd be like, this guy is so good at funny. So I'd be walking around like fucking 10 years old, like, yeah.
It's ingrained in your childhood. Yeah. That's pretty epic, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So I think one of my first like upbringing things was just like learning voices. And anytime I hear someone with a weird voice, I have to mimic them immediately.
Okay.
Which is not good.
Yeah.
Especially if you meet someone from like the UK or like a family from Jersey.
Yeah.
Right? There was one time I was working at Fat Bon and Betty's. Were you around for Fat Bon?
I did. Yeah, I remember that place.
I was serving there. And there was this family that came in there, and the mother of the family, she had a British accent. And right when she started speaking, I was like, "Oh, you want water?"
Oh my god! What did she say?
And like as I said it, I was like,
"Oh."
And she just looked at me like.
She
didn't say anything. She's like, "Can you get my fucking water, please?" She didn't say it, but I'm like, "I know what it is." You know?
Dang it!
It's like new things are intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you watch British movies, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, that's so interesting, but I'll never hear it. And then you hear it in real life, you're like, oh, dopamine! Let me recreate that. And then I was working at S&B's Burger Joint in Carbondale.
Mm-hmm.
And Jersey fucking, like, New York accents have always been so interesting to me. And, like, khakis, you know?
Yeah.
And this one family came in. Before they even spoke, I was already making, like, Jersey accent. Like, you want some khakis with your khakis? They ended up being from Jersey.
Oh.
They didn't say anything. I led with the Jersey accent.
Oh, my God.
Like, yeah, we'll take a water. I don't remember how they said it, but the whole family and the little kids were just like,
oh, my God.
This ain't no joke, bro. This is a lifestyle.
This is funny. That is funny. That's pretty good.
Don't let me around new people. I'll absorb it.
No, it's fun. That is fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to practice this now. I'm going to take that with me.
Bro, I was in Liberty County, Georgia, and I was in jail for 62 days.
Oh, shit.
I was the only fucking white guy in jail. And I was surrounded by some gangsta-ass motherfuckers. And I started becoming hood. Like when you're around.
Is it an adaptation?
Dude, it is. Like,
okay.
It's like.
Well, that's pretty
it's
brilliant.
Not even conscious, because I'm still me, but I'm like adapting things.
Do you always adapt to all your environments?
I think it depends on how unnatural the environment feels.
Okay.
If it feels like a place where just I can do this, my version of myself in that moment, good. I can just be me.
Yeah.
But if like the power of all the external factors is just like bombarding me with stimulation, I'm like, okay, we're adjusting here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always made this joke when I was like literally like 17 to 18 years old. I had this running joke that I was like, I never want to be the guy that's the only white guy in a jail cell next to a guy named Bubba.
Oh shit, did that happen to you? You abracadabraed that? You know abracadabra translates I create as I speak.
Yeah. I Squish my own ass. This literally happened. As I was in Liberty County, Georgia, there was the full joke was I never want to be the only white guy in a jail cell next to a guy with 3 teeth named Bubba.
Did he have 4 teeth though?
I was in this cell. He had 4 teeth. Maybe 5. But I was in the jail cell and he was in the cell over here. It was me, him, and one other white guy, but he was Russian, so I was just like, he's a whole different white. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy named Bubba with 3, 4, or 5 teeth. And he was the most kind of cliche of Bubba you'd ever meet. Yeah. He wasn't an entrepreneur, fucking lifestyle coach. He was like,
right.
What y'all do with that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
He had the whole redneck accent and probably lost his teeth from Mountain Dew. I mean,
for sure. It's a thing.
I was in there getting hood as hell while being localized with a guy named Bubba. And I was just
with your abracadabra.
Bro, my reality was wrecking. And I was just
That's funny.
This is the most sober I've been in a jail cell.
Ever?
I made hooch in jail.
Did you really? Did you use the toilet? What did you do? I watched it on Orange is the New Black, but that's all I got.
So
I don't have jail experience.
I'm a brainiac, and I was in jail, and I'm like, this place is boring as fuck. I'm tired. I was smelling dudes' buttholes and feet and fucking feet and armpit yeast everywhere. And I'm just this smells bad. There's no fresh air. I'm like, I gotta distract myself. So I was every day I'd come in there, or the people would come in with the food and the drinks and stuff, and you get raisins or salad, and then you get salad with croutons, and I'm like, raisins, sugar, fruit, salad, yeast, croutons, and then sugar packets. So I'm like,
oh, you did it. That's funny.
Bitch, we got liquor.
That's funny. How long did it take?
I should have waited longer. So
can you go blind if you drinks? Isn't that kind of
I don't know.
Oh God.
But I'm already blind, so I mean, what can
so you weren't even worried about it. You're like, whatever, this is what we're doing.
I'm just walking with my hand transcending to a walking stick. I mean, it's pretty close. But so I hoarded raisins for a week straight, and hoarded croutons, and hoarded sugar packets and Kool-Aid mixes. And then my mom, she sees this. You did this. You fucking did this. Sent me a Axe body lotion hair conditioner thing. And I was like, fuck that. Daddy wants some liquor, right? So I squirted all the Axe out, or gave it to somebody. I don't remember what I did with it. And I washed the fuck out of it. And then I filled it halfway with water. Then just stuffed the fuck out of it with grapes. And a couple croutons and a bunch of sugar and Kool-Aid packets. And I just sat it in front of the light on the wall in my jail cell. And then a week later, this little dude named Chico, he was a short little Hispanic kid. He was probably maybe 21 or 22. And he was just a young shithead. He was cool, but you could tell he's just shithead. Young energy. And he would always give me coffee. And I'm like, hey, bro. I got hooch. So me and fucking Chico, we fucking chugged this Axe bottle. And for a whole hour, we were just laughing our asses off in this fucking jail cell. And then 2 hours later, we were our insides are exploding. Stomach pain. Because as we drank this, we're this tastes like Axe.
Oh, shit.
Because you don't have the water jet, the water power to really clean the whole Axe bottle. You're just getting what you can out of it.
So you would Axe hooch.
I axed the hooch. Yeah, straight up. And it didn't taste good.
Oh, I bet.
But
I've never made anything like that.
I grew plants in jail. I wasn't supposed
Holy shit. You were in there. You were like, hey, this is what we're doing.
I'm reading books and fucking listening to people talk about fucking drugs and crazy shit. I was like, let me do something productive.
Yeah. I did a stint in rehab once, but it wasn't nearly that as exciting.
I'm just crazy, so I'm just going to find... Yeah. I'm going to make a mile out of an inch.
Yeah.
The salads that they would give us, there was always tomato pieces. And I'm like, seeds. So I would hoard the seeds.
You're
I grew
funny.
tomato plants on the fucking windows.
That is impressive.
It lasted 3 weeks. So it was a glimmer of hope in the middle of a jail cell where you're like, I need to see life.
Yeah.
And then somebody smuggled in some cigarettes, popped a light bulb in the jail cell to use it as a lighter. Cigarette smoke and tobacco was everywhere. And then they raided everyone's in particular cell. took my goddamn tomato plant.
You were like, come on, guys, I was working on that.
That's my baby.
Yeah.
You took my kids.
That's hard.
Yeah, because I was like, God damn it. The greenery, the life, it's gone.
Yeah. The oxygen, the extra oxygen, yeah.
The fucking dopamine, something productive that you can
yeah.
create. I actually wrote an 80-page book when I was in jail.
Impressive.
Because I was like, well, I'm in here, I gotta do something.
I did that on an airplane once. But I was just like sobbing and crying and writing. And I don't know where it came from, but the elevation was like liberating.
Yeah.
And so I just started writing, and they would just like walk by and like hand me tissues because I was just like crying in my book. I don't know. It was like really like liberating.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what it was about?
Yeah. It was yeah.
No.
We can't talk about that here.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we can't talk about that one.
You're
here.
good. You're
yeah,
Gucci.
There was some deep inner shit that came out on that one.
Demons, David Blaine.
Yeah, so I actually still have that book, but it probably should be burned somehow.
Yeah, not published.
Yeah, that's not one that I will know.
Yeah, yeah. I got.
Sometimes things have to come out of you so that you can
therapy.
Constructively see them.
Well, you gotta throw it out so you can look it back as a mirror. Almost.
Yeah, and then you can rewrite your story where you're not the victim, you're more empowered. The conqueror of some bullshit.
It's a fucking spiritual ascension.
Yeah, we do get stuck in victim mentality sometimes. It's like
poor me is a fucking awful thing to feel.
It is, and it's like a dream killer, really. Like it's a trap. And so I actually found my power in the sky. I guess that's what I can say. Like I was in this place where I just wrote my dick off.
That's crazy. Wrote my nipples off. It was good. That's fucking transmutation, man. To be able to like go through whatever experience and to be able to turn that, when life gives you a lemon, we're making lemonade here.
Yeah. Well, we have to be able to see like the bright side or see the lesson that we went through, and that it's not always going to be puppy dogs and rainbows,
the universe seems to do that. Like it keeps sending us things, like similar life experiences, and then we are going to keep experiencing them until we are like, oh,
I got it.
God damn it! I don't want to learn that shit, but I get it.
Yeah, there's a saying that we use in yoga school where it was like, no matter where I go, there I am. So there's nothing that can avoid those things. Like you really do have to dissect yourself. And ask the questions and get the shit out of you so it's not holding on.
Well, yeah, because anything you go through, if you don't learn a lesson from it, it's going to leak into everything else.
Yeah.
Right. Your insecurities or your too prideful things too, right? Like the balance of the yin and yang, like just like you have to digest the life experiences, and if you know there's something you need to do, then you're like, nope, I'm a victim, then the universe is like, prepare for another one.
That's it.
Here it comes.
No, that really is. It's all about how we look at it.
Isn't that fucking weird? I mean, that's not really written down, but we're all starting to seeming to like figure that out in real time. And there's all these people across different platforms talking about how something seems to keep repeating in our lives, and every time we get it, it stops happening. Well,
and the trigger, like I feel like the triggers are always underrated because people are like, oh my God, I was so triggered. Yeah. But also that trigger is the messenger. Yeah. Like that is where your work is, because when we're triggered, I'm a firm believer that when I'm active in a trigger, there is not a solution in that place. That is my time to be an emotional being. Like that, I got to get it out. I got to feel it. I have to do all these things. Yeah. And then I can circle back around and be like, I'm no longer triggered, but I totally understand what I'm supposed to see.
I went the right direction. I went left instead of right. And now I'm like, aha. Yeah. Okay. Not the victim. Yeah. Because it's okay to go through those spaces where you're like, this is awful. This is a place I don't want to be. But then you have to come out to another side and be like, but this is what I'm going to make of it. Yeah. It's like I got flour. Yeah. I got eggs. I can make a fucking cake here. Yeah. Or I can just be like, I just got flour and I just got eggs. That's it. What do I do with this? That's it. This transmutation. It's turning fucking lemons to lemonade. Yeah. So I got little cheat sheets here for us to talk about because we're such interesting, unique people individually already. So we got to dive into interesting things. I want to talk about portals. Portals. Before we got on the stream here, I was trying to set up my audio and the audio wasn't working, and we got into a bunch of different really interesting stuff. But she was talking about portals she's seen and kind of been through, and I would like to know like your experience with portals, or where that started, where it went. If that's still relevant to you today.
Yeah. I think it started definitely whenever I was a child, but I don't remember it like I did through my spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
So like things would happen where I knew I had to go to these places. Mm-hmm. It was like where the deeper work was done, and it's where my questions were answered. Yeah. So I had such a very small scope of reality in my childhood that whenever I got older, I was like, I want to know everything. I want to know why this ticks. I want to know why this happened. I want to know how it does. And I think I was about 28 and my spiritual gifts were coming in super strong. I couldn't really explain them. My partner, my husband, is a very logical human. Yeah. So I would try to explain this and he'd be like, you are so out there.
This is so extra.
So I painted it. So I began painting these. So essentially in my mind's eye is where I go for all of this through meditation. And I shrunk myself into this little girl. Mm-hmm. And this little girl climbed on top of the kitchen counter and she opened this little window and she climbed out of this window. And what's crazy is that I had at that time like this beautiful thing that kind of led into the woods. It was like an archway. Okay. And so
in your mind or
actually in real life. Oh, right. Okay. And so it was all meshed between real life
Weird. So
and the dimensional.
There's like some synchronicity in that.
Yeah. Like if I could just do that, I could be there. Right. But I in real life, I can't shrink myself into a small kid and climb up on this window.
We don't know that.
Window. Maybe. I haven't ever tried actually. So I don't think I'd go back that far. Yeah. And so I would kind of come out on this ledge and then there would be options for tunnels. There would be mostly 3. Yeah. And so I was always guided to just kind of hop in. Okay. And I hopped in and you do the thing when you go down the water slide, like you like crisscross and then I'd see the tunnels like I was going through a water slide.
Sure.
But then I would pop out in such crazy places. There was one time that I was in the desert. Okay. But I was not alone. There was like 12 women there with me. And I don't really know what we were doing, but I know that my soul was being fed. Yeah. I felt
this was an experience you had to be part of.
Yeah, I was being held, right? And it was hot and it was dusty and it was kind of shitty, but it was like so amazing. And then whenever I came back out, I did this painting and it was this woman and she was like floating in this river and I remember like being this person and I could see the clouds and I could see the stars and I could see all these things, but she's like literally floating titties up in this lake and she is this lake. She is like a part of this. And a couple months go by and I was invited to do sound at a women's retreat. Okay. And so I walked into this retreat. I didn't know anybody. And
so fresh.
Yeah. And so we were talking about paintings. We were talking about all this stuff. And at that time I was kind of like shy to be like, hey, I draw paintings of portals and this is where I come out and all this stuff. So I just left all of that out. Yeah. So we decided we were going to go on a boat ride at Lake of Egypt. We're going to go on this pontoon meditation and it was just going to be gold.
Sweet.
And so I go out there and I'm with all these women and we are like in this meditation and something says, take off all your clothes and jump in this lake. And I was like, no.
Stop it,
I was like, no. There was like this urge. And so I just listened. I like stood up. I took my clothes off real quick. I went to the front of the boat. I opened the little gate. And then I ran all the way to the back and I got a running start and did a cannonball. And this is like the deepest part of the lake. Like it's dark.
Ooh, scary.
So I'm like, oh, these bitches probably think I'm crazy, but I've been here before. I know the way. Yeah. And next thing I hear, crash. And this other woman who's from St. Louis decided to do the exact same thing. Ripped her clothes off and jumped in. It was crazy. It was crazy. So we're literally in the water. We're floating. We're just being one with everything. Yeah. And I realize that I have a painting of her. I already painted it. So I actually went home that morning and got the painting and brought it to her. And she was like, that's me. That's my titties. How did you know? And it was like, I've been here before. So
There's one thing for you to just jump off, but it's another for like the person that is this image to actually be part of this experience.
She was like, I've never been in a lake. I've never even been on a boat. Like, she was brave enough to follow me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was
divine.
It's like what I've learned in the tunnels that I can correlate with in real life blows my mind every single freaking time. I've been there. I've done this. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, she ended up with that painting. I hope she still has it. That was super cool. But the lessons are always in those tunnels.
Yeah.
When I'm seeking, I seek those.
Yeah.
But they're all still within me. Like, it's not outside of myself. I have to look. It's just.
It's here.
Yeah.
Here and now.
Right in front of
me.
It's
a feeling or emotion that you activate. You're like, yeah, we're doing. There's a message.
Yeah. Just like you were talking about how you just knew things.
Yeah.
I knew in that moment to like not be shameful, not be scared. Who cares about my body at this point? I'm surrounded by women. It was the same feel as it did in the desert with the women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I already know this. I've already been here. This is what I'm supposed to do.
I mean, there's so many different stories about people who talk about the concept of having this like internal feeling. Like they're compelled to do something. And it's almost never negative or bad. They're just like spontaneous, if anything. And they activate it, and then suddenly they meet the love of their life, or they meet their tribe, or their person, or they get the next level of their job they're supposed to go to, or it activates some next stage of their life. And they're like, if I had not trusted that, I can imagine what it would be like, who I was then.
Yeah.
Because it was a transcendence to a next phase or next stage
Absolutely.
of life. And people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? And maybe we're not supposed to know because we kind of know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an inner knowing. It's already like,
There's truth and knowledge in that which you don't necessarily know, but you understand in a way that's beyond you.
Yeah.
Beyond the physical vessel, beyond the body.
Yeah.
So do you like paint pictures of portals a lot?
Yeah. How often? So I went through 2 years where I would paint these things, but no matter what, there was a giant white hole in the middle of my picture.
So it's like a white portal.
Well, sometimes it changed colors.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It depends on what it was. I ended up giving them all away.
Or are they just like white circle?
Well, they're like a water slide tunnel.
Oh, like
you know how like sometimes like the light hits the water and you can still kind of see things from the outside?
Yeah.
So maybe a wormhole. I don't know what
I'm biased. So you're like, it's just, that's what it is.
It's just like the vehicle that I use to get the answers.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, that's fucking fascinating as hell.
Anytime I've ever had a big decision that I've had to make or anything like that, I can always find what I need there.
It's weird that whenever you really connect to something that has to do with like, I don't know if it's presence or just like here and now. Mm-hmm. But when you embrace something that's happening here now, some inner knowingness, everything you need ends up being right here.
It's all aligning, like
it's
for
so
you.
Weird. Like there'll be times where I'm like, man, I really need this one thing, and I look over and
I'm like, here we go.
It's just here. There's so many times that just happens where I'm like, the one thing to complete this moment that I need.
Yeah.
Whether it's a song written or a thing I'm writing, I'm like, I need this one thing. If I had it, I would complete this feeling.
Yeah.
It's just right here. Yeah. This was not planned. This seemed accidental, but ended up being part of the story. This seemingly insignificant object that's sitting right here and ends up being part of my story. So jobs and hobbies, what are your go-tos?
Well, I'm extra weird. I do a lot of things. So I became a Reiki master in like 2017. So I went through all the levels of Reiki. I opened a yoga studio in 2020. So I opened the doors on the 11th of March.
Yeah.
And the entire world closed down at the end of the week.
So your studio is a Pisces.
Really? Yeah, for sure. Maybe that's what happened.
That's why it's crazy.
Well, no, it was just really hard. It was just a whole different life. Like the work that I had been doing was now shifting to like pandemic work. And everything was a lot heavier. Everything was a lot sicker. It really took a huge toll on me. Yeah. And so I tried to keep things fun there. Yeah. I offered kids yoga. And I literally had so much fun teaching kids yoga.
I've never heard of anyone doing a kids yoga class.
You know what we did? We rolled out our yoga mats, and we played the hot lava game. But it's actually musical chairs, musical mats, but meets the floor is lava, right? So then when I'd stop the music, everyone would find their mat and do a pose. And they jumped so hard around for like 30 minutes that when it was time to lay down and meditate, those kids were done. And it was a full class every single time. It was so much fun. But after things just continued to be like so heavy in the world, I was like, I have to take a break from teaching and healing and holding space for all these people because my family needs me.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
I took a hiatus for like probably a year or two.
Sure.
It was great. I called all my energy back. I cut every cord. I quit trying to save the world and really just ask me what I wanted.
Yeah, return back to original you and
defining
how you wanted to feel and what you wanted to experience.
And I'm a preacher's daughter.
Yeah.
So being raised in the church, my whole life was service to others.
Yeah.
I was never taught to give back to me.
That's hard because, we also live in a society that is super hell-bent on be selfless.
Yeah.
Don't be selfish.
Yeah.
Because you get trained to the extent where you're like, well, what is selfishness? And to me, I'm like, we need to change the term selfish to self-more.
Yeah.
Because we're so hyper-taught and conditioned to not take care of yourself and always make it about someone else that you're like, if you're always taking care of someone else, you're never establishing your own boundaries.
Yeah.
Your cup is never full. You're always pouring from a somewhat less than cup.
And then you're the martyr.
Yeah.
Gross.
And we don't need to raise a generation of martyrs.
No.
There's specific people that need to take that role, not the whole fucking planet.
That's it.
We have to learn how to pour from a full cup.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, when you're a little stressed out, you can't help people, but like the best thing you could do from people is when you are abundant and full in yourself, your cup is full and now it's overflowing.
Yep.
It's just
you have something to
go
give
on to other people.
Absolutely.
You don't even have to try. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome and important that you're like have the wherewithal to be like, this is fun. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And maybe if I want, I can come back to you. Did you go back into it?
I did. But this time I found sound. So
sound therapy. Okay.
So when the world, shut down and everything, I bought a gong. I bought she is a Uranus gong. She is 12 inches.
Wait a minute, you just say Uranus?
Uranus. Well, Uranus in your world,
oh,
probably.
Okay.
It's planetary.
I heard Uranus. I was like, she plays the urinary tract?
No, it's Uranus is a planetary one, but in my world I say Uranus just because it keeps things not
keeps
weird.
It kosher.
Yeah. Anyway, so I found that and it was everything I needed. I put it in the living room.
Yeah.
At the same time, I bought like a 6-foot wind chime. I put it directly in the middle of my kitchen. I'm not kidding.
As you should.
But I also live with 5 dudes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a foot in front of the refrigerator, and you had to actually like walk around the kitchen like this because whenever it went off, it was like boom. So I spent the entire quarantine.
You were hacking these guys' brains.
Clearing space in my house. So I started a program called Sexual Sovereignty, and it was just releasing the sexual shame that I had and just different negative experiences that I had. And my homework was to stare into the mirror with my left eye.
Yeah.
But when I played this gong, my left eye was the only thing I could see. So I was connecting with myself in these deeper places as I was just playing my heart out, and this vibration would hit me, and it just felt like it was healing. Like it was like, oh my God, my nervous system feels better.
Yeah.
I feel more relaxed. Yeah. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. So
like a tuning.
I decided to take the show on the road, and I started like booking different events, and I do Fern Cliff still, and one gong turned into 2 gongs, so now I have an even bigger one.
How many gongs you got?
I have 2, but I do have my eye on another one.
Yeah.
And so, but they're set up in my living room. I have an ocean drum, I have a koshi chime, I have Tibetan bowls, I have crystal bowls. So it's literally a whole sound experience where I'm like, just lay down, just lay down and let me lead you. So that's been really fun. I also work for a local hemp farm. I work for Squish Global. So cool. I wholesale for them, and I love to be in that. Yeah. I love everything that has to do with this type of farming and
the culture of the plant of hemp itself.
It's fantastic. I mean, who knew? I knew THC was the titties a long time ago, but I didn't realize that we really need the CBD and the CBG with the THC.
Yeah.
Like,
now
we're missing
CBG?
out. Yeah, cannabigerol.
I did not know that. All I know is cannabinoid.
Oh, okay.
Cannabigerald?
Yeah, it's Gerald. You can just call it
Gerald.
It's It's supposed to be like the precursor to THC. So if you smoke the CBG before the THC, it preps the body for delivery. And it also helps with paranoia. It also helps with like
so it's the bracing for impact, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the e-brake kind of.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it. Well, I guess CBD would actually be like the brake.
Yeah.
Because if you ever get too high on THC, if you do CBD, it'll bring you back to normal. It's an antidote.
Yeah. It's the cure.
I like low-key love it so much. I also manage the Red Roof Retreats down in Goreville, which is like a really cool Airbnb right off the lake.
Nifty. Okay, cool.
What else do I do? Oh, I'm also Girl Gong Wild. So not only do I have sound healing, but I also love to do elevated sound. And I just crafted the first, I think, ever that I know of CBD, CBG, and THC personal lubricant so that I can get my lady bits high.
I can't even wrap my brain around that. So does that work on men, I would assume?
I've never been a man, but I think so. I mean,
You ain't scored that shit on the hubby and be like, tell me things.
Well, no, I mean, we use it as a massage oil, and it's so good for, like, the body buzz and for the tension, but I really don't use it with him. I use it more solo.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty incredible. I went through every lube I could find, and I was like, ew, gross. Why do you feel like this? And why are you sticky? And why are you...
Yeah, textures with that niche
it gets
really
funky.
Weird.
Like, that's weird. And I didn't want it to smell like
glue on you and you're like
I didn't want it to smell like skunk either. Like those things can't
throw things off.
Absolutely. So I've been crafting this and working on this for probably like 2 years.
Yeah. Perfecting the craft.
Yeah, and now I've just been giving it to everyone, and I get the best reviews. Mostly women who are like, "Hey, I'm numb down there. Childbirth, sexual trauma. Like it's easy to just go dark down there.
Nerve damage or just a mental
stress
turned off. Yeah.
Yeah. This is inviting them back into their
invigorating the sexual experience.
Yeah. And they're in the driver's seat. Like you get to do what you need to do.
And you call this Girl Gong Wild?
This is
Gong.
called
G-O-N-G.
So yeah.
Do you have a page for this?
I do.
Is it Facebook or is it any other
platforms? I do. I have Instagram and I have Facebook. It's Girl Gong Wild 11.
Okay, I need to follow that.
I had to modify my stuff yesterday because I made a post that made my kids mad. So I actually had to like take off some really great content because I'm cringy, I guess.
Wait a minute, how old are your kids?
19, 18, almost 17, and
so
10.
Like, you know what? I could limit it, but I'm like, I want my kids to see my
This
kid.
post was awesome. I had just had a photo shoot, and it was women empowerment, and I posted the product pictures along with one of my headshots, and it was screenshotted and sent in the basketball chat. So my kids are literally sitting in class, get a text message, and it's my picture blown up, screenshotted of me in lingerie. And they were like, Mom. And I was like, what? You can't even see anything. And they were like, Mom, no. So I respect where they're at as humans.
Yeah.
I'm cringy even when I don't try to be cringy. Yeah. I'm like the ultimate your mom joke all of a sudden. Yeah. I don't even freaking know. But I did. So there is some stuff that I had to get rid of on there.
Yeah.
Just to make them more comfortable. But my website will be adults only. So I won't have to worry about that.
Because A, you can't get canceled from your own website.
Yeah.
And B, you can create it however you want and be like, well, I don't know though, because these kids could get the website URL.
Well, then they're going to pay for it, right? And they got to be older than 18. So I'm still not going to do anything pornographic. I just want a platform where, like, I can be myself.
Yeah, and you're raising awareness about something that's, I mean, like, sexual energy is a humongous thing, and a lot of couples lose it if they don't really focus.
We're in a codependent society that we think that our partner is going to fulfill our sexual needs.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
I have never let me down.
Yeah.
Other motherfuckers have always let me down.
Yeah.
So if I take charge of my sexual fulfillment, then
cup is full.
That's what I needed.
Full.
Right.
It's all.
Then I can actually give to my partner.
Yeah.
Then I can actually do the things that I want to do. The opposite of stress is pleasure.
Yeah.
So when I get into those spaces where I feel overwhelmed, I know it's time to be with myself.
Yeah.
This way, I'm using sustainable organic hemp.
Okay.
And
that's so interesting.
It's pretty freaking great. There is no flavoring. There's no I didn't add any essential oils. No, because, I'm worried about the acidity down there. Like, the pH is really important, so we don't throw that off.
Both sexes, honestly.
Yes.
But especially for women as well.
Yes. So I'm trying to really grow this business and not in a shameful way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, not...
Man. Well, I mean, like, sex has always been this thing you're not allowed to talk about unless it's just something malicious or...
I was raised in purity culture, so you better not touch yourself and you better not let anybody else touch you.
Yeah.
Which goes against every single part of our human desires.
Yeah.
Like,
we're called to touch.
Yeah, it's important.
And not even just sex, but just, like, hugging.
Yep.
Loving, grabbing a shoulder and being like, "You're great. Have a great day." You know.
Yeah.
Interpersonal connectiveness and passion ends up being the best self-expression of how much you express how much you like this person.
Absolutely.
And that's great. That is so cool. Because that's like the next level for spouses relationships is like, okay, beyond work, life, and all that things, we need to focus on this as well to keep this vivaciousness, this energy alive.
Yes.
Because this is the base root of us and our like combined chakra, if you will.
For sure.
Of where we're meeting each other. This has to be consistent.
Yes.
That's cool. That's really fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I've been with my partner, like, we're coming up on 16 years.
Oh, wow. And congratulations to both of you. That's awesome.
It's taken work, but we also have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We have to have fun. Now that my kids are getting older, we have more fun.
Yeah.
But now that I'm just way cringier about it. They're like, ew, Mom.
You guys bang.
Yeah, like, it's just, it's strange to me. But they're also, I'm the only woman in their experience to, like, show them this side.
To be that unbiased and actually real with yourself, your body, your husband, reality itself.
It shouldn't be shame.
It should be natural, man. We live in a really artificial society, and I think it's getting better. That's great because I think the news advertises it's getting worse. But I think people like you and me, there are a lot more people like us than there were just 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
People openly talking about sex and just the body and not being like, it's all just dicks, vaginas, titties, and ass, but it's just like the actual spiritual experience of what that is and how you can increase that and really harness that. I think what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you. Great. I had a coach out of San Diego, and I definitely want to give her a shout out because she's the one I did sexual sovereignty with. Yeah. Her name is Erika Briones, and she is
off the tongue. That's interesting.
She taught me how to say her name because I couldn't say her name, and she like taught me like she's
Erika Briones.
Erika Briones. Okay. Yeah, you have to look her up. Anyway, she's a self-pleasure shaman.
Yeah.
And she does clearings in the body. So a lot of times when we go through experiences, the issues get attached to our tissues. And she went through and cleared out every single thing in my body so that I could really feel me.
Yeah.
It was some of the best work. It was like I think it was a 12-week program that I did.
Holy shit.
She was worth every penny. I mean, I paid for life coaches. There was one year I paid like way too much for life coaches and I never got shit out of it. Oh God. But then I met her and then I was like, and everything she does, it's like full force, like whole heart. Like she
believes in what she's saying.
It just makes sense. It's beautiful. So to be led by that, there's no one like this in my community. We're in the Bible Belt. Like there is that inner knowing has been sent away whenever we betrayed ourselves to take up a cross for something else. Yeah. So we don't have that. So it did help me start this whole thing. And in San Diego, the same time I found Durga, we talked about that earlier. I went into this crystal shop, and this little man was like, "Hey, psst, come here." And I looked at my cousin, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "He's trying to take me in the back." And so she...
Red flag! Red flag!
He moved this velvet curtain, and it was yoni eggs all over the place. And I don't know if you're familiar with a yoni egg, but
no idea what that is.
It's a crystal egg that has a string that you can put a string on, and you use it for strengthening your pelvic floor. So you actually do Kegel workouts with it. And it vibrates at its own frequency like all crystals do. So I ended up, he said, "Here you go." He literally gave me a yoni egg. And at this point, I was going through some pelvic floor things. Like my last baby literally destroyed my pelvic floor. I was having to be surgically rebuilt. Aww. So this man giving me this, just like you said, everything I need's right there.
Yeah.
I took this home. I had the surgery. I did this practice and I realized, oh my God, Like, this is doing something.
Yeah.
So I called that shop back and I bought 50 eggs.
Aww.
And then I started selling them. And then I started like guiding self-pleasure journeys. I started telling people, hey, this is okay. I'm going to give you permission to use this. Because most of our pelvic floors are just atrophied. We've had kids. We haven't done anything with them. They're just there. Yeah. So I sold out of all those 50 eggs.
That's awesome. Well, that means that people are looking for something.
That's
in
it.
that realm, that niche,
That's it.
That expression.
I gave one to my mother, the preacher's wife. And then she called and got all of them for her friends. So I was like, okay, all right. So there is like this whole awakening that's happening. I do want to be right here with it. I do want to be the space holder. I do want to be like, here's a yoni egg and here's some lube. Figure out who the fuck you are and what you want. It's really important.
Well, you being that unbiased person, it's almost like you're stepping into your role.
Yeah.
Knowing that what I could do for these people versus if I wasn't doing this.
Yeah.
Right? It would stay the same. But it's like the power of suggestion is humongous. That's why we buy things on infomercials.
No kidding.
Why we go to church and tithe, and why we go to work and, you'll go to a job you hate for the rest of your life, but you're that unbiased person. You're like, I'm stepping into something and I'm acknowledging something. This could help people.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I have a lot of non-orgasmic women in my circle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they're like, I never have. And I'm like, okay, honey,
it's
like riding a fucking roller coaster. Like this is something that needs to be explored. Yeah. And there's not a soul alive that's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
It is a solo mission.
I feel like there's a spiritual aspect to it because when I was younger, like I was a man schlut. But what I learned from it was really the female body in different spiritual, emotional aspects. Like different women that have more of a stern background, it was harder to make them orgasm. Like they had things built up. Yeah. Beyond just physical. It's
absolutely.
Like they couldn't let themselves do it.
Yeah.
No matter like how good I was doing in a job, I was like, can't crack the fucking code.
No. That's in their own way.
And then, I would connect with women when I was younger that were like more in tune and spiritual, and it was much more simple or wholesome or gentle or more pleasurable, or just like it wasn't the fucking Da Vinci Code. Right. We were both in that moment and it was more wholesome, and I've realized there's got to be something to this. Yep. Versus just two people just banging or having sex. There's got to be an energy thing here.
And a lot, I do believe, is ancestral trauma that is stored right there in the pelvis. Like in that sacral chakra, I really believe that generations before us, we carry that. Yeah. We carry it. And so, it's my mission to break that chain, to like make sure that people know like this is part of our everyday life. This should be a practice that you practice daily.
Well, it's not external. It's literally built into our bodies.
Our nervous system relaxes with it. Yeah. I mean, the dopamine. I mean, like literally, it's gold. Yeah. I don't know how people don't do that. But the conversation has to be, a lot of people like me that were raised in purity culture. I had that ring put on my finger at 15 that I was promising them that I would not have sex with my boyfriend. I was already having sex with my boyfriend when I got the ring. And I remember being like, the fuck am I going to do with this thing? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. My parents tried so hard. What? We have some beautiful conversations now in our older years where they're like, Amanda, and I'm like, I had this photo shoot with the super talented Nina Wilson, and I didn't wear much clothes. Yeah. I went to my parents' house. I couldn't wait to show my mom these pictures. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, and that's cool.
It's a lot of like support, and it's like even
getting cool the older you get.
The ancestors on her side are just really angry women. They were so mean, and they were so pin up, and they were all these things that I'm like, okay, I feel like I can heal that with what I'm doing, my authenticity, my showing up, my talking about this. Super cringy for my kids, though. You know what I mean?
They're not, they're not there yet. They're gonna be younger, and they're still in that education system.
They're gonna move out one day. Like I'm still gonna love them, but they're gonna figure it out.
Well, I mean, you're transcending generational curses into a generational blessing. Yeah. Right.
I'm making it normal.
You are a shaman.
I don't know. I actually did shaman classes one time.
Of course you did.
I got stuck in the West and I never went back. Like I'm still stuck in the West. Like I'm not meant to be a shaman. I don't think.
Well, I think shaman is just a word anyway. It's a label. The language itself it's just words. It's intention. And
I like mystic. Can I be a mystic?
I love mysticism.
Okay.
The concept, because it's intriguing, it's fascinating, it's interesting. Mysticism is...
I used to go by healer, and now I'm just so cringed out by the word that I'm
really?
like, oh,
That's
God.
how I was about the term spiritualism and spirituality, because at first I loved it, and then I see how people like gaslight people with spirituality. I'm like, it's become a cult, just like Christianity.
Absolutely.
And they kind of believe the same thing, like the whole like, we're gonna ascend to 5D, we're gonna have the rapture.
I know.
The good people are gonna go forward, and the negative people are gonna stay behind. The sinners are gonna stay behind. And then the chosen ones. I'm like,
I know.
You hate Christians, and you're saying the same fucking thing as them.
It's the same thing. It's just spun differently.
No, but I believe they're words. They're just fucking words. It has nothing to do with... It's all intention. You know, and the concept of sin is just... It's an energy thing. And
do you know the translation of sin?
No.
It literally translates, I believe, in Hebrew for missing the target. I'm not kidding. Like, it literally...
I've been a sinful bitch.
Like you missed the target. You missed the point.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as what we've designed it to be.
Well, it's become like a label.
Yeah. Oh, because sinners whenever I was growing up, oh man, sinners were a big deal. But whenever you grow up, you realize everyone is a sinner. Like, we're all doing the dang
Find
thing.
Me one person that hits the target every time.
Yeah. I mean, my dad might walk on water.
Yeah.
He might, because I don't know. He doesn't usually. I don't know. He's like really in it.
Yeah.
I've never been that dedicated to anything before in my life, but he's connected in that way.
Oh, okay, cool.
But really, other than that, I think everybody else might be full of shit.
I think you're fucking right. Even I'm a little full of shit. But I try to be in some realm of yin and yang, of knowing like your dark and your light, and your self-awareness and how you treat others and how you treat yourself.
How you make people feel matters, and they remember. They remember. So whenever they see you out and you're like, oh, hey, you know, like, I don't know. I unlearned people pleasing, but I've always been like a huge lover of people. Like, I can't even help it.
Aspect. It's just like you want to take care of people, but not people take advantage of you. Because it's like you have to take care of yourself, and for you to take care of a family, you have to hold it together. And
I've spent a lot of time being like, that's your shit.
Yeah.
That's your shit.
Yeah, settle.
I appreciate that you want to dump here, but this has nothing to do with me. This is your shit.
Yeah, keep me out of that.
So, and that's powerful to say. I've had to say that in a lot of friendships and a lot of different things where it's just like...
That's not my
Not my shit.
That's not my thing. I mean, like the town tea and stuff. You know, I've got a lot of local hippie friends, and I guess I'd be like a bald hippie at this point, but I don't like labels and the concept of being spiritual or a hippie, because I'm like, just like the church, when I was a young Christian Baptist, I was just like, I've seen so much hypocrisy in that we're all sinful, we're all hypocrites to an extent, right? But the concept of like being a hippie or a spiritual person, I've seen so much hypocrisy in that, because I've seen so many judgmental hippies and so many judgmental spiritual people.
Yeah.
Like I took a picture on Facebook once years ago, and it was just me going like this, right? I was just playing. Right? And some spiritual practitioner came on, she's like, I see you, Illuminati, and she just like cussed me out, and I'm like,
oh shit.
Okay, Soul Tribe. Like,
God.
All right, light worker. You know, I'm like, it's just as flawed as any other thought.
It sure is. And this new age thing that is happening, I was a part of a group online, and I've been with them. Well, I think it was like 2020 whenever I got in with this group, and I'll be damned, I see these people, they're all life coaches. They can't pay any of their bills. Yeah. They're constantly asking for Venmo or PayPal, and they're giving you all these sad stories, but come to my masterclass, sign up for my workshop, and it's like...
If it's not working for you, how's it going to work for
somebody
else?
You're the blind leading the blind. If you're not successful, how can you possibly do this? Well, it's my manifestation. There still has to be action behind it. It's just like praying and expecting it without doing anything about it.
You can't be halfway up the mountain and then pretend, I'm at the top of the mountain. This is the view from here.
Yeah.
You're not there yet.
It's so strange. And in this world where everybody's a coach, everybody's a mentor, it cringes me out.
It's uncomfortable.
We're meant to lead ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what I do during my sound ceremonies. I lead you back home to yourself every single time. There's nothing that you need outside of you.
No, straight up. There's a song by a guy named Tennyson, and the song is called "A Beautiful World." And the main chorus is "What for, out there, everything's here."
Yeah.
Right, and it's like I don't do LSD anymore, but there was this first time I really had a full LSD personal experience by myself without around people, and it started hitting me. And this song comes on the radio, or the computer. Radio's not even a thing anymore. And I hear this. It starts off with this high decibel audio, beautiful sound of someone pouring a drink into a cup here.
Wow.
And it's just, I'm on fucking acid, and I'm just like, my ears are getting fucked right now. Like I'm just like, yes. Sound, and then it becomes this beautiful symphony of just quiet, soft gentleness in the guys, and he's like, "It's a beautiful world. Can you see it anymore? Out here with your eyes closed, looking for the words. I'm sure you don't know what it's all for. I think I'll let it all unfold." And then he says, "What for? Out there, everything's here." And then I heard that song on acid, and it was just I was supposed to.
Wow.
I won't touch acid again because I'm scared of this shit. I think it'll fuck you up. It's made by some self-proclaimed chemist in a basement, but I did have a great experience.
I think I know that guy.
I'm sure we know a bunch.
I'm more of a mushroom kind of girl.
Same.
So
I mean, we have studies on mushrooms. It's quantifiable, but
I've used a microdose for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
For my anxiety, for my depression,
yeah.
for all of it, and I've noticed a huge difference between that and pharmaceuticals.
One as they've been doing a lot of studies in California with war veterans.
Yes.
They have basically the same mental issues I have. It's complex post-traumatic stress disorder, where you've been through so much fucking shit. You don't know where it comes from, so you don't know how to get to the root of it.
Okay.
And then what mushrooms do is psilocybin. It comes in and basically like resets your feelings. You are now able to cry. Mm-hmm. You're now able to be conscious of the root issues. Mm-hmm. Right? Like I've been microdosing for a hot minute. And it's like feelings that had been gone for 10 years are now reactivated. And suddenly I'm like, it's no longer uncomfortable to cry. I'm now feeling experiences. Like it's like something was soldered off and it's gone. And then, microdosing, not just sitting around tripping balls, which I'm not against people doing that.
Right.
I'm using it for something like therapy, but it's like restoring some type of emotional framework of just like balance.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. I've had the most success with that, honestly.
Yeah.
I've done every pharmaceutical on the planet for depression, for anxiety, for all these things. And
same.
I just grind them up and I just sprinkle them in my coffee. You know what I mean? And it's something it is a whole reset for my whole entire day. There is times where I do wake up and I'm anxious and I'm like worried about stuff that isn't even real, that doesn't even matter.
Conspiracies in your own mind, yeah.
Well, and it's like, am I creating this? Or is this a chemical imbalance? What is this? Either way, we're going to go ahead and try a little bit of this today. And then here I am. The day looks brighter. I'm feeling a little less weighed down. Yeah. I feel like moving the body. Maybe I'm going to go for a hike. I'm not going to full-blown trip it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of kids. I don't have space for any of that. I would need like 5 hours. I don't have 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I do these little micros and it does. It like really gets me through the shit.
Impact.
Yeah.
Daily changes and stuff. So you were talking about sin eating.
Yeah.
Sin eating. That is an interesting conversation because I was talking to you about a movie called The Order with Heath Ledger. Actually, I think it was...
There was another one.
What the fuck? It had to do with sin eating?
Maybe that was it.
I don't remember. I remember that one for sure. I can't remember. I think it was sin eating, or maybe they called it death eating.
Okay.
But I think that's kind of synonymous. Like
kind of the same.
Yeah.
For sure.
Where people would be on their deathbed, and he would come in there to help people get to the next phase of their sins.
Yeah.
He would absorb their sins.
Oh shit.
And he'd eat like the bread or whatever.
Yeah.
And like their sins were a manifestation through the bread.
Okay.
And he would absorb their sins and absolve them.
Yeah.
And it was like.
But what happened to him? Was he like?
He lost all the greatest people in his life.
Yeah.
To him, because
it's not a sustainable practice. When I first started doing Reiki, I started in my living room, and I would do sessions all the time. And then I would do psychic festivals, and I would do sessions. And I had a beautiful clientele of people.
Yeah.
But I was attracting the same brokenness over and over and over and over again. So, different person, same trauma, same story, same victim mentality. Same energy. And they weren't aware of self to know it was self-inflicted to even begin with. So it was their dad. It was their mom. Yeah. It was their brother. It was literally everybody else, but there was zero ownership in the role that they played in their own suffering.
Yeah.
I'd put them on the table. I would do, hour sessions on them, and I would wipe myself out. Like, I would come home after doing sessions, and I had a full house full of humans that needed my attention, and there was zero things left for me.
Oh, yeah. Your cup's empty.
So I had, like, this whole moment where I was sitting in the shop, and I was like, I don't need to be doing this anymore. Yeah. I am tired, I am depleted, and I hate this.
Because it's more than a sacrifice, it's a depletion.
I was a dump site. I was literally an emotional dump site for people. And there was a monetary exchange, but money means nothing on an energetic level.
It's like ruining your life.
That's it.
And that's how I've looked at a lot of jobs, is like, I'm making great money, but dude, I have no dopamine, no energy when I'm off.
Yeah, so it was very similar, and I just stepped away.
Yeah.
I also taught, so like I think I have 47 students underneath me for level 1. Awesome. Yeah. So I liked teaching it, but once I realized how it negatively affected me, I was like, okay, it's time to like cut cords and step back.
So what's the concept of sin eating? Is it like is there a practice to where you like are trying to connect with someone at an energetic level, and you're just, is it a language thing where they tell you what's going on, or are you just trying to feel their energy barrier?
Well, a lot of it was like, I would say not to tell me what was going on with the body, right? Yeah. Don't tell me. I'd really like to just like be an investigator and decide what this is. So at the end, there's an intuitive reading. Yeah. So I do absent writing where I'm working on the body, but I'm also writing. It's mostly with my left hand as well, which is my dominant is my right. Yeah. So something else is kind of in the seat for this writing. Yeah. I spend a lot of time clearing these chakras, clearing these energetic spaces, using crystals. Ray means spiritual awareness. Ki is breath, life force. So it's a lot of blowing. You know, like there's a certain breath that I use. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a certain breath that I use that I can channel certain things and I can really blow them out. Okay. So I was spending so much time like ruffling all this energy. I do
There's a lot of blow involved.
Yeah, a lot of blow.
Hunter S. Thompson was definitely a Reiki practitioner.
For sure.
Definitely.
Different
master blower.
Sure. But it was like, it was so much. And then afterward, I would clear this entire space. And then I would give this reading. And it would open them up. And they would bring it all right back. You know what I mean? It was like, I think I'm doing it wrong because I'm clearing them.
It's not that you're doing it wrong.
But they're so a part of their suffering. Like their identity is wrapped up in this suffering that they wouldn't know who they were without this. Yeah.
Well, it's because a lot of people carry guilt their entire lives. And I did for a long time until I was just like, there was this point, like maybe about 7 months ago, and I'm gonna turn 35 on Sunday, and it was only up about 6 months ago. I learned something about myself. No one had ever taught me. It just clicked. Where I think I was having this day, where I was just having a good day, and this voice in my head was telling me to like, that ain't shit, or like there was like,
your mean voice.
Yeah, and I was just like, wait, who the fuck is saying that? I don't want to believe that. I don't want to feel that way. So who? Yep. Who is this authoritative figure? And I'm like, oh my God, that is my upbringing. Yep.
It can be so loud, can't it?
I became an adult and never realized that I have to feel a figure around me talking down. So that becomes the sabotagery of anything I'm confident in. Right now, it's like, so I had to do the spiritual, emotional, neurological work of literally untraining a voice in my head, which most people would say is an insecurity, but it's like, to me, I'm like, no, this is a conditioning. This is literally erasing a neurological framework of where whatever raised you, whenever you're gone, you're going to make it up. Yeah. And that's where anxiety comes from.
For sure.
You know, where like, you can never do this, you can never do that, you can't do that, you gotta do the normal things everyone else does. Yeah. That devil on your shoulder is like, you know,
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
And it just clicked one day. I'm like, why am I talking to myself this way? That's not how I feel. I love my energy. I love who I am. And I believe in the things I'm doing. Why am I doing this to myself? And I'm like, that is me, but it's not me. It's this
extension of you almost.
It's like a book you read so much that it's just ingrained. And you have to uproot it. And ever since, I've been like, I've had a lot of profound experiences where I was, you know, the things you come from.
Yeah.
And it's really self-awareness. Like you were talking about. It's just like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them understand what they need to. A lot of these people want to kick their own ass. And they've been doing it a lot of their lives. I was. And thank God I'm just in my
And they're
middle
looking
30s.
For a fixer. You know, and so it just got real.
You can't remote view someone's brain and take control of the reins.
No. I couldn't. And I think let's see. So 2016 to 2021 in October. That's how long I did that. And then I shut it all down. And then that was whenever I literally called it like returning home to me. Like I would get my inbox would be blown up. Can I get this? Can I get a dream interpretation? I think I just saw my dead grandma. Oh, I got this stuck in my sacral. Oh, my heart hurts. All of the things.
Yeah.
That were like right there. And coincidentally, I named my yoga studio Heart Space. Yeah. Which is what needed to be healed the whole entire time for me. Like I had to learn boundaries. I had to learn.
It might have helped get you to that place, which is strange.
It was so weird. And then I just decided that I was done doing that.
Yeah.
And then sound came in.
Yeah.
I like sound better. I can sit behind the gongs. I can do yoga nidra. I can speak life into you. And I don't have to give my energy.
Yeah, you're just expressing a state.
We're all just listening.
A presence.
We're all just listening to weird noises, you know? Like we're just here together doing that.
Yeah. Do you mind if we take a quick break?
Go ahead.
Smoke a cigarette real quick, because whenever we stream this, I'm pretty sure everyone's against smoking on camera, so we'll be right back. All right. Yeah, we just went into another 20-minute ramble about all the funnest shit on the planet. Aliens and spirit boxes and dimensions and aliens. And
AI.
All sorts
Skinwalkers.
of stuff.
We did it.
As long as it's not skin eaters. You know
what
I mean?
No,
I'm not. The fact that people do that shit's crazy to me.
I'm not familiar, I guess. I guess I haven't done enough research.
Thing in Hollywood. There was one guy that was like a famous actor who like his girlfriend like had to get away from him because he kept asking her to like let him eat a piece of her.
What?
That's
thankfully I've never had any experience for like that. Weird. Yeah, people have some weird shit, man.
No, I mean there's tribes that still do that shit too, where they'll eat like the weakest of their species for food for the.
I remember there was a documentary on Netflix, and I started watching it, and it was super weird. And they cut a young boy's foreskin off, and then the elders ate it, and I turned it off. I looked at my husband. I was like, I don't have even the mental capacity for this. Like, I can't. I'm done.
How do you like your penis? Medium rare or well
like
done?
What is that gonna do? I mean, I don't understand. Anyway, I don't understand. I think it's the same way how there are some people that paint their face with their period blood and different things like that. There's just some things I refuse to do.
That did that shit.
I support women, whatever it is that you want to do, but I'm personally not jumping on that bandwagon.
You do that, but I'm gonna be honest, that's strange to me.
Have you ever heard of coconut oil?
No,
there's so many other things to put on your face. Castor oil is like the cure-all for everything. We don't actually need, There was this
gorgeous woman that, like, I had been flirting with years ago, and we were talking about energy and soul and spirituality. We were both talking about, like, the medium, clairvoyant shit. Mm-hmm. She was clearly part of some energy that we were both aligned about. I'm like, but she sent me a picture, and she had, like, face paint on, and there were, like, she had moons painted on her forehead, and she had red face paint. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. She's like, yes, it's my period blood. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't know. I find that strange.
I am such a far away from a judgmental person, but I'm like, you lost me at period blood on your face. You lose me at the flat Earth. You lose me. You lose me at the reptilians. I'm not hating you guys, but you have to understand, if that ends up being real and it works, I'm behind on that, and I'm kind of comfortable with it because I'm like, I'm not ready to smear war blood.
I don't feel like there's any reason for me to do that.
I don't, and like,
I can honor my moon cycle in a beautiful way without ever putting it on my face.
like imagine I just like blow a load and I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm one with my dick.
I mean, like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Now, I have heard of women using their period blood in their art on canvas and different stuff like that. Yeah. That I'm totally like, that's cool.
Maybe
that's cool as shit. But to put it on my face,
antibacterial spray on the
I don't even
canvas,
know. I just don't. I'm not there. I guess I'm just not there. I hope to never be there. They could be
more evolved in that space than we are, but. To me, I'm like...
Do you know what would happen if in my house if I walked out of the bedroom painted with my period blood?
Can you imagine if you put that on your Instagram and...
Oh, God! Oh, God. They would be like, Mom, you're so embarrassing. Mom, can you please just take this off? Mom, my friends are seeing this.
I'm moving out now.
Yeah.
They're going to get 3 jobs the same way and be like, I'm gone.
But what is funny is that living with 5 dudes, they know when my cycle is. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because it's like they're all in cahoots. Like they're, Mom, are you okay? Is there anything that you need? And I'm like, why? Well, we just noticed that, it's almost that time. It's like they know I'm on a 24-day cycle. And so they're like extra sweet around that time so I don't eat their face off. Yeah. But I'm teaching them about the feminine. Yeah. Like there is a point in time in my cycle, probably 3 days before, where all of their faces just piss me off. And that tells me that I need some alone time. I need to go to the woods. I just don't like you guys right now. I love you so much, but I cannot stand to hear your voice or look at your stupid faces. So that's how I know. So if I were to come out with period blood on my face, they would be done. Like they would probably buy me my own house or something. So I have taught them about the cycles and how to honor them, but that would just be too much. Yoni eggs and lube. I mean, I'm already pushing it with all of that stuff. Yeah. So
I'm riding the line, bro. That's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
No,
Have you heard the theory? I don't know if this is an original theory or if this is just my mom's theory. And she's Christian Baptist, and she's got the energy, but I think she comes from a place she's still in the Christian Baptist community, and I think she's somewhere in the middle, but she hasn't explored it. Okay. She's still in this phase where I'm like the only person she'll talk to about this kind of stuff. Because she'll be like, I have feelings like that. And I'm like, all right, girl, let's talk about the juju. And she's like, I have visions and thoughts and weird dreams.
Wow, of course she does.
Symbols and symbolisms. She has a theory that, like, whoever you came from, if your mother's on a cycle, somehow you... male or woman will feel the effects wherever you are. Wow. She didn't say it that way, but she said she's noticed a connection between when she's on her period, I'll be going through something. Okay. Somewhere else on the other side of the fucking planet or the other side of the states, and she'll be like, she'll make a connection. She's like, I saw this happening. Not like
a heightened sensitivity?
Yeah, like she'd be going through that time of the month, and coincidentally, I was losing my shit on that exact fucking time. Wow. And I'm not like
you're deeply connected. That's the womb that you came from.
There could be a spiritual connection when mom's going through the shit. Yeah. I'm sharing it at an energetic spiritual level. Wow. And maybe she might have made a connection a lot of people have never thought about.
That's incredible.
Because like, anytime when I was younger, it doesn't happen as much because I've got a lot more of my shit together. But when I was younger, I was outer space all day, every day. But there'd be specific times where she'd be like, are you okay? And I'm like, well, coincidentally, you asked me this. I'm losing my shit. And she's like, I know. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you know?
It's like that mom intuition. That's incredible, though, to think like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Really, yeah. It's supposed to be a time that is celebrated, too. It is supposed to be, like, all this sacred stuff. And I totally understand that. But do you know how hard it is to, like, self-regulate during the times where I just want to eat people's faces off, and there isn't a reason that I want to eat your face off. Yeah. They're just doing the normal shit
right now.
They're doing normal shit, but like in my hormonal experience, I'm like, so I mean, it's different. I lived with my mom and my sister growing up. We always sank. Like our cycles would always sync up. At one point, my mom was going through menopause. I was pregnant, and then my sister just started puberty. Yeah. So we were all in different stages, and it was nuts. It was nuts. I remember that's when my dad bought a Harley. He was like, peace out. And he like literally back. He checked out in that, which I can't blame him in
Productive.
That. Yeah.
For everybody in that.
And now I don't have a female to sync up with.
Oh, yeah, so that's the whole living around males.
Yeah, it's like there's so much testosterone, and I'm so in my masculine that to be soft sometimes makes me feel weak. Where I'm like, I gotta...
You're not surrounded by it. You're around a specific type of energy.
All the
testosterone,
time.
That's different.
Oh, yeah. They're so logical. And I'm the least logical person that I know.
Yeah.
So they're just like, oh, the mom. You know what I mean? And it's like... All right. I do have 2 friends that come into town every month, though, and it, like clockwork, we get together for the weekend, and we all bleed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like every single time. It's nice. It's actually so nice. But at the same time, I'm just like...
therapeutic and kind
I would kill for somebody else around these parts to, like, understand what I'm dealing with right
get out
now.
My house! Yeah. Oh, my poor mom. She's surrounded by men. She's got me. She's got my 2 brothers, her husband, and that's it.
I learn a lot from the masculine.
Yeah.
I do have a female dog. I do have Rasta.
Yeah.
But I learn a lot. But here's the thing. I cannot be quick to reaction.
Yeah.
I have to be in a place of observation because we are wired 100% differently. Yeah. My whole experience, I've raised them 100% differently than what my childhood experience was.
Yeah.
So I have to give them grace on that too.
Yeah.
You know, like
so it's humble. That's humble of you as well. That's the strangest thing about men and women is that we are so different. We have a lot of shared things, but something about men and our energy is so unique to us, just as women are unique to women, is we have our own things. You know, we are in that place of a not necessarily intentional aggression, but like decisiveness and initiative, drive,
discipline,
the bullet in the barrel, going straight down, straight to the point, logic. We don't have time for that juju woo woo.
That's it.
Shit, we got to go straight to it.
That's it.
And then I think gender roles seem to be reversing a little bit today. So slowly, I think both genders are starting to incorporate new ideas of the opposite.
Okay.
Like me as a person, I am much more open to the feminine concepts, so I'm balanced really 50-50 in my masculine to be able to lead and my feminine to be able to be soft and share space with people. That's Juliet. She is sweetie.
You're so
sweet. So as far as life experience or anything you've been through, do you have a couple crazy experiences where you're like, that fucked my whole mind up? Like any like really individual things that happen. My stomach has been rumbling this entire podcast.
Are you hungry?
I'll get some food here in a bit.
You're cracking me up.
So
probably the story of like coming into my gifts, the first time that I saw a ghost or an entity or anything like that, I had a mother-in-law who was very much like introducing me to new things. You know what I mean? And there was an Abraham Hicks meeting, which I followed Abraham for probably like the last 15 years. And we went to this meeting. And I was the youngest there, and there was this whole setting where we were all sitting around and we were meditating, and I realized that the couch that I was sitting on was shaking. And my eyes are closed, but I happen to look up in the corner of the room, and I can clearly see someone sitting next to me, right? So he's sitting there, and his one of his legs is up, but he's going like this. Like he's shaking the whole freaking couch, okay? So she's sitting on the other couch, and I'm trying to hit her. I'm trying to like,
yo, bitch.
Like I want to know if you can see this guy. And he's kind of like sitting. It looked like he's always sat in that chair. That chair was just like somewhere that he like sat in or something. Place, yeah. So weird. So the whole entire time, and I can just feel my body like humming. I can just feel all this stuff, and I'm like, what am I seeing? Why can I only see him peripherally? Why is it whenever I look dead on, there's nothing there, but when I look at the ceiling, he's there?
Dude, I experienced that where I can't see things directly, but it'll be in my peripheral.
You can't see it.
That's fucking weird.
So we close the meditation, and the woman whose house this is at begins to cry. And she's like, you guys, my son just died of cancer. I don't know what to do. I miss him, and I don't feel him here with me. He was the guy on the fucking couch. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell these people what I see. I'm a newbie. I am just like, done. And so I'm like hitting her, and I was like, you have to get me out of here now. You have to get me. And these are all her friends, you know.
Abort.
And so we get in the car, and she's like, what is going on? And I was like, her son was sitting next to me the whole time. I had no idea what to do. My spiritual gifts were starting. It was like 28. And yeah, she thought it was the funniest shit in the whole world. Like, she laughed and laughed and laughed about that.
Your first real experience.
And so I didn't really know how to take that. And then it happened more and more. Yeah. Peripherally, right? So, like, I could never, ever see it. And then there was another time that I went and did this session. And it was like, it was a really big healing session. I was there for like 2 hours. We were doing a lot of deep work. And then when I left, I was just like floating on out of there. And I had to stop at this gas station. And I walk into this gas station, and there's this little lady, this little Indian lady. And she's standing there, and she's looking at me. And so I walk all the way to the back, and I get my drink. Mm-hmm. And I go to check out. And before I can even get my stuff up there, she's directly next to me. She's like staring at me hardcore. And I'm like, oh, fuck, is this real? Is this real? And so I did the only thing I knew to do. Spanker? I poked her in the chest. And she was like, ah! And I was like, ah! And I was like, okay, you're real. I gotta fucking go. So I had a hard time like deciding like what was real and what wasn't during that spiritual time. Yeah. And yeah, no, that was like some funny shit. But no, anytime that I have had people on the table, I get visions of the things that they've gone through. Yeah. And different, you know, so it's like connecting the dots. At the end, I'm like, okay, I saw this and I saw this and then this and this and this.
Bigger picture being painted.
Yeah. And so most of my experiences are like that, where I don't really know what is happening until the dots are connected.
You're just receiving the message.
And I've been like this since I was a kid. Even in the church, I would read people. I would actually call people by color because I could see auras really young. So that was like the yellow guy, and that was like the blue guy, and that was the different things. I could also pinpoint where people's illnesses were. So I could be like, so-and-so has cancer in his pancreas. Liver issues, yeah, and I would be dead on every single time because you could kind of see that, and the energy field was sick. Yeah. And so the more that I delve into all of this, and the more that I started using, so in Reiki, we have symbols. Okay. So there is a power symbol. Okay. There is a symbol for distance healing, which is like I think it's like 28 steps. You can send yourself anywhere. Okay. So I've spent a lot of time doing that. Like if I know someone's sick, if I know I can literally, if I've had them on my table and I've had their permission, I can tap it and I can go. So I've been all over the place, but still in my place. I would love to learn that. I could totally teach you how to do this. This is powerful. Yeah. So with that, and then the power symbol, the shokare, and then there's a ton of symbols. That's one of the things that I love to teach, because whenever I do this, I actually draw the symbols on the roof of my mouth with my tongue, and then I blow.
Ooh, I've never heard of that.
So it is like, it's deeply connecting to like my points in the body, as well as the Reiki that I'm attuned to, and it's just a blast.
Oh, that's crazy. That's cool as hell.
So it's different. My notes are ridiculous on people. Like, I have a whole file cabinet full of every note that I've ever written while someone's on the table.
Oh, that's cool.
I will turn it into a book one day.
That's going to be a great book.
Well, it's just insightful. It's
going to be revolutionary.
I hope. I am doing a little bit of blogging. Uh-huh. I've been working on this one for like the past 3 years, but it's called Confessions of a Preacher's Daughter.
That's got a ring. That's good.
And so not only is it all of the weird things that I was taught that ended up not being true, but also my sexual experiences that define me in my rebellion for purity culture and like every other thing that I was taught.
It's a strange culture to get out of, especially when it's, I don't know, it's like, sex is like a spiritual thing, and so many people kind of, even when I was younger, I just used it as a physical thing, just like a handshake. And then I got older and it became more of a...
Aren't you grateful for the experiences that you had, though, in order to be in that intimate places?
To where I am now.
Same. You know? Sex is still a catalyst for me. Like there are times whenever, I fully believe that it's my responsibility to, own my own pleasure, but to be with my partner in those times, he's strong. Yeah. Like he's vibrating at his own frequency. Yeah. So to plug in we mesh. And then it's like, after I'm done, I'm like, dear God, can I just do this every day, all day? Because it feels so good. It feels so right in that space.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I think it's an energy thing. I think physically, you know, we are just beings, but I think there's something happening in this at the spiritual soul level. It's like, if we have souls, I think it's why I think when people get into relationships, in either direction they go, they become so much more impactful when they have sex.
Right.
Because they sync up.
Yep.
In something that's beyond just,
yep,
you like the same movies I like. You're
right.
Like, no. We've been in each other's fields.
That's it. And if we flip the page to that, if you're with a narcissist, if you're with someone sick, if you're with someone that's not willing to see themselves or any of their toxicity, and they spill their seed within you, do you know what happens?
You get pieces of that.
That is you.
Yeah.
That is you now. You take on the bullshit that they did not want to.
Yeah.
So that is another thing. My partner and I have always been like, what headspace are you in? Do you know what I mean? Because there cannot be the exchange of toxicity. I need this to be a conscious connection that sends me to the next level.
Yeah, you can't bring your insecurities and your toxicity. You have to be like, this is a shared experience. We have to have an established boundary or presence.
But that's also how people get their hooks in. That you know you need to break up with them. You know they're not healthy, but damn, that sex is so good.
Yeah.
That, I mean, really, like, that's how they're keeping you. Yeah. That's literally how they're keeping you. So that's a whole different topic in itself. But to, like, be with a toxic person and know that, you know, sex is how they're pulling you in each time.
Yeah. I went through this monk phase for, like, 8 years where I went from the person who was just banging everything to I was just, like, I started going through the spiritual revelation, having different experiences of, like, what if there's more to this? I want to know more about that. I don't want that anymore. I want this to be for a reason. So I went through these long phases. I didn't date. I didn't have sex with anyone, which was profound because I was always having sex with someone. And then I was like, monk, none, nobody. Wow. And I borderline became asexual.
Okay.
But more so to untrain the cliche male part of my mind that wanted to be like, big titties, big ass, suck dick. You know what I mean? I'm like, I need to untrain what a young kid saw in porn, and I need to learn how to see the person and the energy. And so I swore off dating. I swore off fucking. I swore off porn, everything, because I was like, I need to get in my own energy and know what this is, so that I could prepare myself for someone who deserves this.
Absolutely.
Right.
And porn is not real.
Yeah, it's not real.
That is one thing that I've told my boys from the very beginning. None of that is real. And the more evolved you get, the less you can stomach watching that, because you know it's like,
well, it feels dirty.
Yeah, and you know, with kink, sometimes you can settle into different things. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be pornographic. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they take
creative spaces. I mean, there's like foreplay and there's like roles and things, but yeah.
It's strange to me. But also, I mean, I spent a lot of time doing the same thing in my younger years. Yeah. For me, it was like I was looking for connection, but I wanted to have fun. Yeah. And that was fun.
As a kid who's learning to regulate your own emotions, it's instant dopamine.
Absolutely.
Instant release. I don't have to feel any anger, anxiety.
Yep.
And here,
I feel good. Yeah.
It's one of the first drugs we take, other than
caffeine,
food addiction, and sugar and caffeine, sex and climax, man.
Yeah. Well, how many people have been taught that they're supposed to just watch porn and jack off, and they wonder why they're in the same exact position that they've been in for 10 years because they're not using that. It's literally weighing them down.
Well, and so I've been watching a lot of videos about the concept of semen retention. There's a lot of guys on the internet, and I've done these experiments when I was younger. And just a couple years ago, I'd be watching porn, and I'm like, why do I feel so insecure and heavy all the time? And I got into this place where I would do these like 3-week-long spurts of not even doing anything sexual with anyone else, and especially and not even myself. I would just do it. And the longer I would go without doing anything sexual, the more confident. It was like an energy change. Yeah. A whole different state of mind.
You're bringing that seed up to your crown rather than spilling it uselessly.
Well, I've noticed that's the difference between men and women is literally the seed.
Yeah.
It's our fucking love juice, you know what I mean? And when you're spilling it, what is the difference between man and woman? the thing that makes you different from women is gone. So that's why women I have a theory you can recognize people that jerk their dicks 24/7.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Because you're like, your energy is very low.
Yeah.
You're insecure. You have an inferiority
You're depressed
complex.
As shit.
You're combative. Yeah. You're competitive in the worst ways possible.
Yeah, your ego is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, because you could, like, the most spiritually enlightened and confident and great men I've ever met were people that A, had a loving relationship with their wife or girlfriend, or B, just did not watch porn. And I'm like, I started making these connections, and you know what? The longer I would go without that, I started having crazy, like, visions.
Okay. Prophetic. My husband talks about that too. Yep.
It's weird, man. It's almost like it's like this fucking Super Saiyan thing where you'll go 4 or 5 weeks without jerking off or banging anybody, and you're like in this. You start naturally vibrating.
Yeah.
You feel like electricity or like fucking.
We used to do a build up, and so whenever my partner would do this, it was. I think when he first started it, he gave up alcohol and he was doing the semen retention with it. So in his first 100 days, he ran 100 miles.
Nice.
So we would build up this energy.
Yeah.
And he would take it with him and go for a run or go do a project, or like he would use the momentum rather than spilling it. Yeah. And I kind of like watched him evolve in this way, and I was a little bit jealous, right? Because I've done the whole edging thing. I've done all that. No, that makes me mad. Like I'm just get infuriated. We're not meant to hold back. Women are meant to roar. Yeah. And I think men, you know, the older that you get, I think it should be less and less that you ejaculate. But I'm also a woman, so you know, and I've never had a dick. Yeah. I think we were taught wrong. I think this whole entire thing is backwards.
I 1000% think we're taught wrong. And I think that's why the world's fucked up, or at least America's fucked up, is because there's this...
And sexual deviancy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can settle into sexual deviancy in a really healthy way if you wanted to. Yeah. But then there's the other side of that. You know what I mean? It's like what you're feeding. Yeah. What side of you are you feeding?
Yeah. Are you feeding the soul or the body or the mind?
Do you dream more whenever you do semen retention as well?
Oh, dude, so...
my husband would wake up and be like, vivid. Holy shit, do you know what I just dreamt? And I'm like, how?
Dude, I had literally like prophetic... Which is the strangest one? I had this vision. So I went like 6 weeks without anything sexual, because I wanted to get to the point where I'm like, during the time when I was jerking the dick all the time when I was younger, I couldn't have conversations. You know what I mean? With women, it'd be like, you're literally like, why do I feel like a fucking robot? Just look at her goddamn eyes, and I'm like, I'm not wanting to be a piece of shit. It's just in my brain.
It's conditioning.
I'm like, how, this should not be that hard, right? So I'd go like 6 weeks, and then it was just normal, right? And then there was none of that like titties, ass, all that stuff, yoga pants. Like I was just like, that doesn't exist. It's just shared experience. But so I'd go like 6 weeks, and I'd start having like, I don't know how to describe it, just bigger spiritual feelings.
Okay.
And there was this couple days where I just had this image in the back of my head. I didn't come up with it. It was just there. And it was like this golden energy going up my spine, and it was just like a pool, like a fountain going out of my
Did you do the microcosmic orbit? Are you familiar with that?
No, I have no idea.
It sounds like that's what you did without even consciously knowing.
What's that?
So the microcosmic orbit is where you pull the energy from sacral, from semen retention, bringing it all the way up to the crown, through the spine, and then it carries over and goes back. It's one full orbit.
Isn't it the original story of Santa Claus taking the presents from the fucking chimney and bringing it?
What? I have no idea.
Jim Carrey goes in this long, deep story about something exactly like that. He says that the story of Santa Claus bringing the presents down the chimney is like a presence. And it has to do with golden energy coming up your cerebral spinal fluid. Stop it. But that was a thing where I was just like, I'm just like, here's my vision out here. I'm seeing in my mind's eye at all times of day this golden shower of energy coming out of my spine. And I'm like, coincidence, I was just the most in my moment or feeling I was. And I started having like fucking superhero dreams of like crazy shit, because I just felt this energy that I like. That's why a lot of guys break and they end up banging somebody or jerking off, because like There's so
they don't know what to do with it.
Here.
Yep, I agree with that.
I feel like a psychopath. Where you're like, I don't know. I gotta go run. I gotta bite something. I gotta punch something. But
I noticed that with my partner too. At the beginning, there was like aggression, not toward me, but just in general, where it was like
it's just bolder, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
But I don't know if I call it a dream, but it was like a vision, and I just appeared in a place late at night when I don't know, I can't remember if I was sleeping or if I was in a meditation, but suddenly I appeared in this giant room, like I was talking about earlier, but this is a different shape. It was like I was in this giant, what I think was a giant metal room, and I was at the top of this, I think like a concrete side or cliff, and I was on top of this concrete slab with like 3 other people, and the concrete goes fucking the furthest down I could possibly even fathom. And me as a person or an energy of being, I was standing on this spot, and there was these other 3 people looking at me like, how did you get here? Mm-hmm. And I could feel them, and they felt, like I felt my energy, and I was like, you have energy I can't understand. Like, I'm like, it's just like imagining that someone walks in the front door and there's a tornado around them. Mm-hmm. And it's just, and I'm like in this room, and these people are like, we're here. How are you here? Mm-hmm. Right? And they're like looking at me. And I remember this one guy smirking and then kicked me. And I flew off the fucking ledge, and I just soared down, and I fucking landed on this concrete slab. And I like remember standing up, and this woman, now this is like 6 weeks into doing nothing sexual. I had, like, there was never thoughts in my head. I was never thinking of this. This woman, like, was standing in front of me, smirked, suddenly appeared naked, bent over, banged me, and I wake up with some fucking, like, soggy ass pants, and like my whole energy feels lower now.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
okay. So
is this like some succubus shit? Like,
no, it does happen. It actually does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens sporadically, and it's just like it has to come out. Like, I don't know. That's the experience. My husband went on this journey, and I should let him speak for his own journey. But at the same time, from my perspective, it was so much. It was so much. I could not. I couldn't.
It's like holding 19 lightning bolts in your body.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so to be the partner that was supposed to be the space holder and do this, it was intense.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at him and saying, "Can we just go back to what we've always done? That what we always know, like that always worked for us."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I think we can." And so we did that for probably a year. I'm going to say that was a solid year.
Where he'd go like segments of time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it was intense. Like he was counting down days. Like, oh, I'm 40 days in. Yeah. And it was just like, we would still engage.
Yeah.
But he never got to finish, right? Yeah. So he would just like, no, I'm all built up. I'm going to go for a run or I'm going to go for a hike or do all these things. But it was so much.
Well,
it was
Egyptians used to do
so intimidating to my feminine energy where it was like, I really want to be held, and I really want to be loved, and I really want to be seen. But what you're doing is like, that I'm like, I don't even know what I have to work with on that.
This is different.
Yeah.
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 It's a new place. I can imagine that for especially a female, of like a man that's.
I've never experienced that.
Nobody talks about that, and it's weird. I watch those videos about semen retention, and these guys will talk about similar things I've gone through.
Well, he's even told the boys, like, before your ball games, before your stuff, like, keep your seed.
Do not jerk that thing.
Keep your seed, because you can use it for momentum. You really can use it for momentum.
Yeah.
But, yeah, women aren't wired that way.
Yeah.
We're a whole different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole different thing.
That's...
Yeah. I'm like, hold me and love me and tell me how cute I am. And he's like, roar! I'm like, dear God.
You're scary. Give me.
But that was around the same time that we both stopped watching porn, too.
Yeah.
And so now it's totally different. Like, I haven't went back. If I have... Okay, I do like this ethical stuff. Like, I'm kind of low-key. I love ethical porn. And there's some really great stuff. You've never heard of ethical porn?
Wait a minute.
Oh, my God. It's women-led, women-directed, consensual, and beautiful. It's not this wham bam choke you out weird shit that we're seeing. Like it is.
Oh no, stepsister, you dropped your handkerchief.
Yeah, see, there's no incest. There's no. It's just real people coming together, and it's not a performance. It is literally an act. And I don't know if you feel froggy, ethical porn is a real thing, and I love female directed stuff because then it's like the sweetness is there. Oh, the cat emotion. And mouse little thing. Like there's a dialogue. Like I really don't want to see the rest of that shit. Like I can't. Yeah. Why do you look so young? Why are you so old? This is weird.
Oh, there's a lot of weird kinks and all that shit.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was on this FetLife website. And
I'm familiar with that.
Well, I was a DJ and I lived with a bunch of people when it was just the LGBT community, and I was the single straight white male in the basement of two females transitioning to become men.
Okay.
And two lesbians, one of which was my best friend. They all became my best friends, and it was an interesting time because, well, really, I learned everything. Hold on, I just completely went off a tangent. Think about them. What was the original point we were talking about here?
Semen retention.
What the fuck was my point on that?
FetLife. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they taught me FetLife. Okay, because I was like the science experiment for the LGBT house.
They're like, let's put you on there and see what happens.
There's this one chick I just randomly banged in the basement because I was living in the basement, and like when we got done, like all the women in the house were like, we listened.
That's funny.
They walked up to the door that went into the basement, and they're like, you did a great job, and I'm like,
you did. They were cheering you on.
Beat it out, or been like, you're goddamn right.
You were safely supported in your basement, loving.
But they introduced me to FetLife because I was just like, back then I was more in the active kink idea of like, I wasn't really into the spiritual aspect of sex yet. I was more of just like, let's explore sex in other ways.
That's it.
And in the LGBT community, especially in the bigger cities, FetLife is humongous. It's the Facebook or of that niche of people. And I got on there, and eventually I was like, I gotta get the fuck off this because there's art where people are doing, performance art of like nudity and stuff, and then there's people who are dressing like babies, and you're like, you're a full grown man wearing diapers.
Yeah, we can't do that.
That's
a whole different thing.
I
have not encountered that.
Too close.
Yeah, I have not encountered that.
It's
probably definitely, if you think about it, going back, like they definitely didn't get what they need nurtured as a child. Like that has got to be like a deeply wounded like child wound.
I feel like there's a moment in time where we all develop our first like step or root of sex or that energy, and whatever becomes that first step becomes the root of it.
Okay.
So kids who were taken advantage of.
Yep.
Who didn't get to express how wrong that was what they went through. They end up being the child molester.
That's sad, yeah.
Which is fucked up.
It's just the pattern. It's the cycle.
Whenever I was a kid, my first, one of my first sexual feelings, one of my friends showed me this site called Whisker Biscuits. Whisker Biscuits.
What is a Whisker Biscuit?
I don't fucking know. Maybe her thing is the biscuit and it's got whisker. I just now made that connect. I don't know if that's what that was.
You're cracking me up.
But I think this was like one of my first like full ass fucking hard on elbow to fist boom fucking like solid boners. I was like, I don't know why, but I want that. I want that. And there was this girl like posing butt ass naked on like a wooden fence, and she was wearing white socks, and that was it.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've had a kink for just someone wearing white socks.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
And you know how big
socks.
Feet Finder is in these days.
I don't care about feet. That's why my theory is something started, and that might have to do with the blueprint or schematic of it.
Yeah.
Like people who have odd kinks, if they're comfortable enough to talk about it, you go far enough back, you're like, that's where it started. Mm-hmm. That's where your kink was. That was the first Pandora's box being opened.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I don't know where
I had a weird kink. I think I'm definitely getting over it. But so when I was little, I always self-pleasured. Mm-hmm. And so it was a big thing like, you better stop, Jesus is watching you. Right? You better stop.
How
Jesus is watching you.
Put that in someone's head. Someone's always watching me.
Later on in life, I realized Jesus is watching me? Wait, what do you mean? Like, it became this thing, right? So fast forward, I marry this incredible man, and he grows his hair out. And he looks just like fucking Jesus for like 3 years. Gosh. No, I mean, I ate it up. I like literally ate it up.
Yeah.
And then one day I came home and he had cut all of his hair off and he looked like a frat boy. And I believe that my kink died that day. But it was so beautiful. Like, it was so much fun. And it was like, ooh, I'm doing something. Like, yeah. It went from that to like, it was a healthy way for me to explore.
Could have been the exploration of the original kink.
That's it.
I swear there's a thing to that.
And it wasn't bad. It was so much fun to explore. And then it was done just as quickly as it wasn't. So I still daydream. I mean, that's all in my spank bank. Like, believe I'm going to keep that for fucking ever. But it was like, you know, it was fun to do it in a healthy way with my partner.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun to role play. Because he's like, do you want me to forgive your sins? And I'm like, oh, please. Like, I mean, yeah, like it was an ongoing joke for quite a few years. Like, oh, man.
Oh, that kicks ass.
So it's fun. Part of the preacher's daughter in me, I guess.
So let's see what time it is. What's your phone say?
4:30.
Okay, yeah, I'd say, well, we can wrap it up about here. Anything else you want to talk about? And then we could always do a part 2.
I would love to do a part 2.
Yeah, this is fun as hell.
Can I plug a couple events?
Of course, and anything you got that you're selling or you want pages, anything you got going on.
Okay, so you can find me on Girl Gong Wild on Instagram or Facebook. I do have my personal page is Amanda Nicole Holm. I'm on there. The events that I have coming up, we are doing a spring equinox sound bath at Ferncliff on the 19th. We're going to do it at 6 o'clock at the Lake Pavilion. Donation based. You can come and pay whatever you'd like. We also love to barter and all that good stuff. On 4/20, I'll be at Bliss, which is this new dispensary in Mount Vernon. I'll be opening ceremony for that. And then I'm doing a 4/20 dinner at Feather Hills Winery on 4/20 night. So that will kick off at 4/20. There'll be vendors. I have Chef Caleb Poppy coming to do all the infusions. Everyone from the cannabis world will be there. We're also doing a wine pairing. So it's called Wine and Weed. So there's still opportunity for vendors and sponsors for that, as well as a few tickets left.
Oh, that sounds fun as hell.
It'll be my second one. We did it last year and I literally had so much fun. Like, I can't. It's just so we will be using hemp. We'll be using CBD and CBG, and we'll all be using it from the Squish farm. Awesome. So I'm like trying to bring in, I got the Flyway Mushroom Farm people coming in, and they're also sponsoring with mushrooms for
like reishi and like cordyceps and
I don't know which ones they are, but they grow amazing mushrooms.
Yeah. And
so we can infuse that for like a vegan option as well. We got to take care of our vegans out there too, you know.
In the woods or something maybe.
Yeah.
I know people will cook those and taste apparently just like chicken.
Yeah.
But anything else you're wanting to plug on here? Anything else? Any locals?
I don't know. Lube, can of lube.
There you go. And you sell that through a website or just personally?
It's at the Squish store right now that you could pick up, or you can just contact. The
Squish store is where?
It is in Marion. It's right next to Kroger.
Okay.
There's a great fella over there. His name's Todd, and if you go in there, tell him that I sent you, but also tell him to play bags with you because he's like really good bag thrower, and every time I go up there, I have to throw bags with him.
You just lose every time.
Every single time. And he doesn't even cheat. Like, there's times where I, like, fling that thing, and he's like, it's okay, homie. And I'm like, I swear, I only play with him so that it boosts his ego, because I suck at bags.
He's like, there's no winning in this.
But it's good for us. Like, it's good for him to move like that. So, and me, gosh, just throwing stuff, it's fun. But, yeah, so those... and then he's also got great products over there. There's a CBD tea that I came up with a couple years ago. And then there's a muscle rub, and there's a muscle freeze, and there's gummies. It's good stuff.
And this is shea butter, beeswax, and cannabis infused. And this is part of your Girl Gong Wild.
This is Girl Gong Wild products,
see if my thing can actually highlight it here. Girl Gong Wild. Yeah. Check that stuff out. Give
it's like a follow. Passion project for my undomestication.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what it looks like anymore.
Throw some money this woman's way and go to some of her events.
Yes.
Well, fucking thank you. This was a blast. We gonna do another one.
We have to.
And yeah, y'all stay tuned and Follow Miss Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
Much love.
Bye.